Hello everyone, we are back again for our Friday phonics and our final look at the suffix full. Now, let me share my screen with you because we're going to start today with some of my check Mrs. Martin's suffix work. So I'd like you to have a look at this slide and I want you to tell me whether you think I've got it right or wrong. Have I spelt those correctly? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, so yesterday we were thinking about words ending in Y, weren't we? And so we've got plentiful as the top word, and we've got playful as the bottom word. Plentiful. Have I spelt that correctly? The answer is yes, because we had a consonant before the Y, so I've changed that to an I, and I've added full. I've remembered only to have one L as well, so I have spelt that correctly. What about playful? Have I spelt that correctly? What do you think? Well, hopefully you're telling me that actually I've spelt that one right. I'm doing very well for a Friday. 2 out of 2 so far. So I have spelt playful right. I wonder if you can remember why I don't change the Y to an I for this word. Can you call out for me? It's because there is a vowel before the Y, so I don't change it to an I. Well remembered. Okay, here's another two. See if you can see if I've done them correctly or incorrectly. Both of these have got an E on the end. What do you think? Do you know, for a lot of the suffixes that we have learnt over the last few weeks, when we've had an E on the end, we've had to do something, haven't we? We've had to take off the E before adding ing, or if we had to add ed, we didn't add ed, we just added d because we already had an E there. But when we add the suffix full, we don't need to do anything if there's an E there. Phew-wee, we can just add the suffix. So hopeful and careful are spelt correctly. Now there is one more rule that we need to remember. Okay, when we're adding the suffix full, we need to actually look and see if the word already ends in L. Because if it does, we're going to apply the same rule that we do for the suffix itself. Let's have a look at two. So we've got the word skill and we've got the word will. Now we can add the suffix full to both of those words, so we can be skillful and we can be willful. Now, it was easier to find photos of things which show people being skillful and a bit trickier with willful, but let's talk them through. So at the moment, one of my sons is really enjoying watching the rugby and he likes to play rugby. To play rugby, you need to show some skills, don't you? So you need to be skillful. To make a cake like this one, I could never make a cake like this, I don't think. You need to have lots of skills, so you need to be skillful. And at the bottom, there are lots of children playing the cello. Now, I can actually play the cello. Haven't played it for a while, but I can. And if you learn a musical instrument, any musical instrument, you have to be skillful to do so. I wonder if you can do any of those things. Can you bake something or cook something? Can you play an instrument or play a sport? Or maybe you can think of something else where you have got lots of skills. We might say you are full of skills, so you are skillful. Now, the other word, willful, doesn't seem to have as positive a thought as you think about it. So if you are willful, that normally means something quite negative. So it means that you're quite stubborn, you won't change your mind about something, and particularly if you're being told not to do something, maybe you're disobeying somebody who's telling you something and you don't want to, we might describe you as being willful. Okay, so that doesn't mean in the good sense of persevering, like a perseverance penguin. It means when you should really not do something, but you're determined to keep doing it. That's what willful means. Okay. Now, if we follow the same rule that I told you about a moment ago, if we're going to add the suffix full to these words, what will happen is both skill and will lose an L. It's a bit funny, isn't it? But actually, to write skillful and willful, you only need one L, just like you need the one L at the end of full. It's a bit strange, okay? You might find in certain books that people use two L's, but actually, one of the ways we should really be writing it is just with one, okay? Now, because we've been working on the suffix full all week, I thought I would give you a bit of a challenge to finish today. And we're not going to write any sentences, we're going to do some sorting. So what I've got is some words at the bottom in the green circle, and then I've drawn a table and 3 different categories. I would like you to have a go at sorting those words into the correct categories. Okay. Now, with the suffix full, there aren't as many rules as we've had with some of the other suffixes, so it's a little bit easier. But you will just need to have a think about the words ending in Y, what do we need to do? The words ending in E, we don't need to do anything. And the words ending in L. Okay, so have a think about those, pause the video and start sorting. Okay, so I'm going to run through them pretty quickly just to see if you've got them correct. So you should have beauty all on its own because it's the only one that ends in Y. So it's the only one you need to change to an I before adding full. Then you should have skill on its own as well. It's the only one that ends in L, which means you need to take one of those L's off. And in fact, all the other words could all be in the same column because this time we don't need to change anything with an E, and everything else we just add the suffix full. So hopefully you got on well with those. Well, I hope you've enjoyed learning another suffix. You're doing so well with learning all of these different suffixes, and I'm hoping that you're starting to use some of them even in some of your own writing. That'd be amazing. Have a super weekend, and I hopefully will see you next week. Bye.